Hi there. My name is Dr. Michael Vallis. I'm a health psychologist and I run the Behavior Change Institute at Capitol Health and Dalhousie University. And I'd like to introduce to you Module 1 of this program, which is addressing issues around self-management and behavior change. This is an important issue in health outcome interventions of late, primarily because we do have, as clinicians, lots of suggestions to make to individuals about the things that they could do to improve their health. The challenge is, how do these individuals actually develop the confidence and motivation and strategies to actually see these recommendations to outcomes? And so the purpose really of this module is to accomplish 5 goals that we would define as part of our learning objectives. And the first is that we'd like to provide you with the opportunity to understand and then be able to explain the importance of the self-management perspective when it comes to health behaviors in professional physiotherapy practice. The reason that this is important is because the typical patient-provider relationship is based on the expert clinician with the uninformed help seeker. As a result, we're very good at making recommendations or at providing education, but at the end of the day, the real important issue is, why would the person continue with our recommendations when they leave their office and go back to their home? So appreciating the importance of supporting individuals in figuring out how they can choose and then effectively implement behavior change. The second objective that follows from that is to actually help to define the behavior. So to explicitly work with the individual and their families to define exactly what it is that we're going to be asking people to do. This may sound trite, but in fact, it's one of the common observations that we're able to make when we look at the typical patient-provider interaction. And that is, the provider has a very clear sense in their own mind of what it is that needs to happen, but the individual doesn't have as clear a sense in their mind. So it's extremely important to have an explicit definition and defining exactly what the behaviors that we're recommending actually are. The next goal is to help you determine how ready an individual or family are to actually follow through on these recommendations. The recommendations make sense to us, but because the individual is required to incorporate these recommendations into their day-to-day life, then they really do require motivation to be able to do so. And the contemporary assessment of motivation is through what we call readiness. So determining a person's readiness to take action, to follow through on recommendations, is another important skill set. The fourth objective is, what do you do with that readiness? So all makes perfect sense if an individual or family indicate that they're very ready to follow a clinician's recommendations. Things just follow from there into action. What if they're not ready? What if they're what we call ambivalent? Part of them is on board, but part of them is reluctant. How do we help them to work with and resolve that ambivalence? And equally important, what if they're not ready? What if they identify barriers that tell us that they're not ready at this point to follow through? And behavioral change theory and intervention is designed to help clinicians address all aspects of readiness, from completely ready to completely not ready. The final objective of this program would be to help you with the basic principles of behavior modification. And so when a person becomes ready, then they will go into action. As it turns out, the likelihood of success from that action really depends on the approach that they take to behavior. This is important because many people will start the process of change by taking on goals that might be unrealistic or that might be too quick. And so we would provide you with the opportunity to become familiar with the evidence-based strategies around effective behavior modification. So these 5 goals are designed to facilitate the confidence that you would have in shifting away from a provider centered approach, let me tell you what you need to do and let me show you how to do it, towards a more patient-centered approach that really is rooted in self-management and our confidence and skill at self-management support. We wish you luck.